All right. So I'm a little passionate and I'm a little pissed off right now and a little embarrassed at something that happened a couple days ago. I ended up getting in trouble with HR. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I want to tell this story, guys. Okay, so sit back and relax and listen to my rant. So in February, as you guys know, I got fired from Earthwater. Now, when I got fired from Earthwater, that shit I kind of saw it coming, especially if, well, I don't know necessarily when I'm releasing this video, but if it happens to come out after I made the video about my the coworkers and getting fired at Earthwater and what working at Earthwater was like after those videos come out, well, you can kind of see how the boss didn't fucking like us and really just bought it for the licensing, as I said, to sell this certain system. But that's, I guess, that's neither here nor there at this point. So, anyways, I had gotten fired from Earthwater and I was like, fuck. And my parents were definitely understanding because, well, when a new management comes in, they want to shift around the company, and that is a very good excuse, even if you didn't even have necessarily bad performance. If you say new management came in, well, to anyone that could mean anything. It could mean they're shitty leaders or they're trying to cut down, I suppose, company costs because the new owner isn't as rich or resource envy, or not envy, resource rich as the last one. They want to cut costs. It could basically fucking mean anything. So it's honestly a good excuse if you end up get fired or quit. And well, that's kind of what happened to me, getting fired. So it was February, and I was like, fuck. And for those 2 weeks, it was great being unemployed. It really was. I was staying up, fucking playing video games, doing all that shit, right? And I applied to this company. Now it is about 10 minutes from my house, and I applied to these two different ones. Now the first one, I'm such a fucking God. I wish there was, you know how in Forza Horizon you can press Y to reverse the action you did about, like, well, yeah, I wish life had a fucking button like that, because I think we can all agree, because I would have saved so much fucking stress that I've been through, all this bullshit. Yeah, so what I'm getting at is there was two companies that I interviewed for in February. Now, one of them had a standardized, when I went there, he was talking about installing these systems, and I was sick as fuck, bro. Like, not as sick as when I was told my MSF story on my other channel. Well, I was very fucking sick for that, but I was sick, and that's probably why I didn't really fucking listen to what the interviewer was saying. I just, like, obviously, if there's a job interview scheduled, unless you have fucking COVID-19, of course you're gonna show up, and I did not have COVID-19, although it did feel like that. I showed up to the first company. He had a checklist for all their helpers saying, like, hey, we're going to train you on all these. And it had, I actually had this in the Air Force before I got gate certified. It was either a staff or a tech sergeant or whatever, had to sign off on like 120 page list of all these subtasks. Like, one of them was, oh, how do you communicate with BDOC? Or, oh, how do you handcuff a subject? How do you know the point and area target of your M4? Like, all these random fucking tasks that a gate sentry should know, that a tech sergeant has to sign off with you. Usually it's tabletop, but I'm getting off the point. In the Air Force, it was extremely fucking standardized, and everything was there. Every single box needed to be checked to know that you were structured and certified. Now, this company did do that. It reminded me, that was the first thing I thought of, was the sergeant that sat across from me, and he checked off these boxes before I had my QC to be gate certified. So he was doing that shit. I was like, okay, like, I like this. It's very structured. I feel confident in myself. For a civilian company to do this it was very promising, and I was like, damn, like, y'all run things good. The only thing is, they wanted to pay me 16, 17 an hour starting out. Now listen, y'all, when I was at Earthwater, the highest I was making was about, I think it was either 19 or 20. I can't remember. I think it was 20, because the owner had given me a raise by $1, which is, I don't really know if he was planning to fire me in the long term or keep me, but even if he was, it kind of seems like a sick joke, but fucking whatever. Now, Redcon, the other company, which is, that's what I'll call them, Redcon was willing to start me out at 23 an hour. Here's the thing. I had been installing these systems for about a year and a half, doing geothermal operations. So I'm not too familiar with conventional systems. So when they had told me like, hey, you're gonna be a service tech, that's what I applied for. I didn't even really think I was gonna get the job, because to be a service technician, like say if you had to go out and service a fire sprinkler suppression system, well, you damn well better be a good fucking installer and actually know every single part of the equipment, or else how are you supposed to be a service technician and knowing what's wrong and how to test it with a multimeter and knowing what a normal operation is when the system is functioning, which I do. It's just you want someone with more experience. Now, Redcon did take the bite and they did send me in for an interview, or asked me to go for an interview, which is fucking, that was insane. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even think I was going to get the job. So I ended up going to this interview. It was in I think it was right at the end of February, right? I interviewed. I'm like, yeah, like I want to be a service tech. And then I think the install manager, he was like, oh yeah, like, and I'll call him the old install manager. Actually, let's give him a name. I'll call him Richard. So Richard and the service manager were sitting across from me on the interview table. He's like, "Yeah, like I'll hire you. This will be your first day." And service techs, like, even though we are the smallest company that does this work in kind of our area, because there's three major of these companies that I guess in the tri-county area, tri-state area, whatever the fuck, we're the smallest. He was talking about like, oh yeah, we're gonna get you this like this work phone, work iPad, fucking take home vehicle. I was like, oh hell yeah, because if you're a first year helper in whatever job, whether if you're a fucking auto mechanic, or well, not really auto mechanic, that's a bad fucking example, but say if you're like a carpenter or a welder or like a plumber or an electrician or whatnot, well, if you get a take home van, especially as like a first or second year apprentice, like that feels fucking awesome. It really does. So my ego was definitely puffed up, but I didn't really know what I was doing. Because to give a little bit of context, geothermal is digging in the ground. You're melting pipe together. That's the bread and butter of geothermal. Just digging in the fucking ground with a subcontracted digger, like I was talking about Mason, the fucking racist one in that one video I made. First video talking about earth water. It's digging, like you're trenching all the fucking time. Versus normally in this trade, it is conventional. You're in the customer's home. You're right outside on the side of their home. Whereas, like I said, geothermal, yeah, it's you do have to do a bit of conventional, but at least what I did when I was a helper, when I was training at Earthwater, getting better at the job, I was typically a lot of the times the trench bitch, which is okay. I got my fair share of physical exercise, but it's trenching. It's trenching versus conventional. You know what I mean? I don't know too much about conventional, if not even in. Well, just keep listening on, and you'll see I kind of didn't learn too much. Let's put it that way. So I report to work, and here's the thing about this company. At Earthwater, we did not have any safety meetings. We did not have mandatory training meetings, although that the mandatory training meetings did kind of help develop. But at the same time, sometimes it feels like you're just sitting through a lecture at fucking 8 o'clock in the morning, like I'm back in the military, and they're here to yell at me, and or not really yell at me, just drone on death by PowerPoint. So I'm out there service teching away. I did have to shadow someone for 5 days, and that was actually fucking fun. I made a lot of memories, and one of them was talking about like, I'm like, do you ever go? And he was married. A lot of married guys tell me this, like they have eyes for a lot of women at their job, you know, work husband, work wife, whatever. So if you're in a relationship, you ain't fucking safe, all right? But one of these guys was like, "Oh, you ever go to like a hot?" And he was a brother, by the way. I'm like, "You ever go to like a house and there's like a hot mom, or like, you know, like a daughter who's home from college during the summer or whatever?" He's like, "Oh yeah, like they be hitting on me." I'm like, "Oh shit, dude." So I was like, "Hell yeah, this job's gonna be awesome." Like they're paying me $23 an hour. I get my take home van. I can put all the Royal Farms rewards points in that fucking, you know, when I'm filling up the gas, because it is like a Ford Transit that we drive for the company vehicle. So I'm service teching away for 2 months. I'm actually doing like a good job, because since I didn't really know much, they had me doing preventative maintenances. Which, if you guys ever even have preventative maintenances, whether if they're inspections or testing for like your water, your AC system, your joists in the attic if you're a carpenter, you know, like preventative maintenances and all that. regardless of whatever field blue collar you do, it's low key a fucking scam. Like they go in there, they look at a couple things, but they're not there to really do anything. So tune-ups and maintenances can sometimes be a scam, okay? Unless it's like your car and getting your oil changed. Seriously, guys, fuck those things. But Redcon is the most money-hungry fucking company. And I'm going to talk about this later. They like say if one small thing on a system isn't working, dude, we're the type of company to scam a grandma out of like $11,000 by changing out her system just because something small isn't working. That's like a $40 part, which is how fucked up it is. Now the salesman, because you gotta think they probably get like 20 no's a day, and if they get one, well, that means, hey, there's guaranteed work for tomorrow, because I'm sure they have objectives they need to hit every day, like, oh, you need to sell 7 jobs at the end of the week, or 10 or 12 or whatever the fuck. So it makes sense. It's all a revolving machine. All the gears and the cogs mesh together, like the dude said in The Incredibles, which is kind of fucking funny because when you're an adult and you actually listen back to that scene, it's pretty fucked how he was trying to tell Mr. Incredible to like and it's funny because that movie literally relates to what I'm talking about, how shareholders are greedy ass and all they care about is squeezing out their last dime, which makes sense. It's a profit machine. You're trying to make money, but the way they do it is fucking unethical. But let's be honest, bro. Like, I don't believe in the Bible, but when it says, the love of money is the root of all evil, there's or all kinds of evil. Sorry, I don't want to mean to misquote it. It's kind of fucking true, okay? Some service tech in a way and all that shit. Now, for some context, I have been shocked by an X26P police taser. I have a video, but there's it's kind of hard to blur it out. And I don't really want you guys laughing at my scream because it low key just it sounds like I'm helpless, sounds like I'm in pain, which I was when I was getting tased. So I know because I don't even know the exact volts in an X26P. I know the amperage is low, so I'm literally gonna have to look it up. I mean, apparently it says open circuit direct voltage of 50,000 fucking volts. So yeah, that's a lot, but it says an average of 1,200. So I guess that's not as much as 50,000. It doesn't sound cool. But in any case, I've been shocked by over 1,000 volts. Okay, so I know exactly what getting shocked is, and I think you know where this is fucking leading. So one day I get sent out to a call. It's all the way in Annapolis. So I go out there, and then I remember when I got there, it was like a normal maintenance. I was talking to this guy. He was actually he was a veteran of the army, so he was talking about all this like Green Beret special forces shit he did. Also, his daughter looked a lot like Erin Morarity. Like, I could not shake it. She looked like she was her sister, her cousin. It was fucking insane. Like, and she was fine, because if you guys know how hot Erin Morarity is, you're like, shit, okay. So I don't know. It was just something I really remember about the call, and I actually thought I was gonna get fucking. I thought she was gonna like report me to the company because it was just something I said. But you know how fucking women are in HR, which will come to play at the end of the story. Fuck me. But yeah, I'm doing the service call, whatever. I'm doing the maintenance. Now it comes time to go outside and look at something. Now, what I was looking at is energized. It's a part, and I'm not really gonna. Well, I'm trying to keep it like discreet to say, sort of say. So I'm just gonna say how many volts and amperage this part's carry. The thing that I touched that was hot was anywhere from 370 volts to about 440, typically drawing around zero point 0.5 to 10 plus amps in the circuits while it was running. Now, in terms of danger level, because I remember, like, I felt like I was being gaslit when I eventually had my meeting with my manager saying, oh, you could have fucking died. But listen, I got a young, healthy heart. I'm in my mid 20s. Okay, listen, I'm all right, okay? Now, the thing could have fucking killed me, yes, but this is like a residential system. It's not a commercial system, okay? And I also might have been lucky because when I touched it, I think it like went up through my arm, but I don't think it like touched my heart, because I think if it did go through your fucking heart, it could give you cardiac arrest, but I've been told it's all about the way that electricity travels through your fingers, and if it shoots out your like elbow or something, or if it snakes up into your heart, depending on what, if you touch it with your right arm or your left arm. But also, I'm not an expert on this shit, so please, if you're an electrician watching this, or if you've been in I don't know, some kind of technical field involving electricity and this sounds kind of retarded to you, please, I'm sorry in advance. I am not an expert, so I'm not trying to claim this or that. You know what I mean? I'm just my best estimation. But could I have died? Yes. But I didn't. You know what I mean? And when I was at Earthwater, I remember our coworker got shocked, and I specifically remember he was on his knees, bent down, like trying to wire something in to this little like it was like this unit box or something like that in the corner of a customer's basement, and he was like, "Ow, fuck!" He pulled his arm out. He was like, "Oh, I got shocked." And then the Gabe was there. He was like, "Oh, are you okay?" It was actually Drake that got shocked. And then Gabe was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, like I'm fine." Like fuck. And then like I was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to get shocked." He told me it's gonna happen sooner or later, and fuck, man. I guess the white rabbit came for me. So after I got shocked, I was like, "Holy shit!" Because the way it happened, once I have been shocked before, which is good. Like I said, with that taser, I know what it feels like to get arc. Or I think it's called a pulse, or like I know what it feels like to be completing a circuit and have your body fucking pulsing. It is one of the most violent, scary, terrifying things that can happen to you for like 5 or 10 seconds. Well, taser is controlled. You can't just keep spamming it. It has a delay. I mean, I know what it feels like, so it's not necessarily that much of a surprise. If you ever get shocked, it's really unlikely you're ever gonna forget that feeling. Your body's gonna store that shit forever. I would hope. It's a safety mechanism, but nevertheless, after I got shocked, I pulled my hand away. I was like, fuck, 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 fuck. And the customer was behind me. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I think I just got shocked. Because like when I got shocked with the taser, it felt like a bunch of little knives all over my nerves because I was getting NMI'd. By the way, when I say NMI, that is neuromuscular incapacitation. It's just a temporary state for when you complete a circuit, typically under a taser, to where you lose all motor functions. Like people have pissed themselves. It's basically, just like in the video I showed you, you're locked up and you literally just can't move. You look like a zombie. You look like you're being blood bended, like an avatar. Like you just can't move. Your muscles are just twitching and functioning. That's what NMI is. But with this one, it was not an NMI because even if it was, he could have just kicked me off the unit. Still though, like that was not fucking. It was not fucking fun. And when I touched it, like it shook my arm pretty like violently. I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then I pulled away. I don't know. I think. Well, I guess I'm not sure if this part was grounded or not, but even if it was, I didn't fully complete the circuit or something like that, or I don't like I said, I don't really know much about electricity that much probably, and my fucking bosses will gaslight me forever and say, "Oh, that's why you got shocked." Like, no, you fucking. I just made a mistake, okay? Just shut the fuck up and move on. But at Earthwater, if you had made this mistake because it was a mom and pop shop, like most likely the owner would have just been like, "Are you okay?" And I just laughed at you. But here, because our corporation, the corporation that I joined, Redcon, it was actually like on its way to fail a couple years ago before this company, I'll just call them RTT, bought them out. Yeah, I'll just nickname it that. So RTT owns a fucking shitload of companies. They own dozens of fucking home improvement companies. So no, not even dozens upon dozens. Like they're fucking ginormous. They have branches in Arizona, Florida, Delaware, like down south. They have a shit ton of fucking branches everywhere. So RTT is ginormous, meaning they're, obviously a corporation. Now, I did not know how bitch made these corporate places are. Like they're so bitch made, and that makes sense because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have gotten, like there was a dude at our company that I think got shocked and ended up getting workers comp for 2 years or something, which is just the company throwing fucking money away, which makes sense why they're so careful about paying out workers comp and protecting their workers and identifying safety hazards. But to me it just seems like fucking bullshit. So after I get off there, I think I reported it to the dispatch. The what's it called? Yeah, it was the dispatcher. I called her. I said that. Then afterwards, I told my supervisor. Here's the thing: I wasn't wearing gloves. I was supposed to wear these like maxi flex, rubber gloves. but you kind of lose dexterity, and you tradesmen know this when you're trying to fucking wire something or put something through something or fine tune with your fingers. Sometimes having gloves is just a fucking slowdown. So I'm using my bare hands. When I call my supervisor, he like Loki stuck out his neck for me. He's like, "No, you didn't. You were wearing gloves." Okay, like he was basically saying, yeah, like when you have to call the safety guy, tell him that you were wearing gloves. So I called the safety guy, and I had to have a briefing with him even before I ended up getting on the road. You had to do this like driving program so they can approve you on their insurance. I already had met him. He's a very cool, down to earth guy. After I met him, he like I thought I could trust him, and I mean I still think I can. It's just it's in a weird spot right now. I call him. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine." He's like, "You need to call this nurse line. It's some kind of like medical line in case we ever get injured. It's like a liability thing." So I end up getting on the hold. I call the line. Then this lady's talking about like, well, she goes through her protocol. She asked me like 5 or 6 questions. I'm like, I'm fine. I literally got shocked, pulled my hand away. I was fine. So she's like, "Oh, if you're experiencing burns, go to the clinic, shortness of breath." I was like, I don't have any of this shit. Like, I got lucky that it didn't cross the path of my heart, but it's also like I'm not. I'm young and healthy. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm 50 years old, fucking 300 pounds with heart problems to where my heart can't take fucking anything. So I was like, yeah, like I'm fine. So I go home after that, and I remember it was about 2 weeks after that. Because originally at Earthwater, I was installing systems. I go to the service manager, my boss. I'm like, "Hey, like I want to go to install. I want to learn more." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go talk to Richard, the install manager." So I end up going to Richard, going to his office. He's like, "Yeah." Now this is a very important part of the story because I'm gonna repeat things that he said to me that I knew he said because it was so fucking unclear. Like just keep listening, it'll make sense. So we sit down in the chair. I'm talking to him about all this shit. Like I'm talking about how I want to be an installer. I want to learn how to do all these tasks so I can be competent on my job and all that shit. Now, he didn't say anything about the shock. He didn't say anything about he doubted my ability to be an installer. So he's like, "Yeah, like I'm going to go talk to the HR lady and see if we can make an internal transfer, and yeah, I'll give you a call in a week." So I go back to service tech, and a week goes by. I end up getting a message from my supervisor. I think it was like right after I got home. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna be reporting to Richard from now on." And in my head, I'm like, "Yes, this is so fucking awesome. I'm finally gonna be an installer. I'm gonna be on this team at this great company with these people that are gonna support me." Yeah, not so fast. So my first day, I report to him, and he's like, "Oh, go see the scheduling manager." Well, not really manager. He's just a scheduling guy. So I see the scheduling guy. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna drop off. You're gonna pick up this equipment at this place, and then drop it off to this team." And I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." So I do that for a couple days, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is fucking awesome." Like I was service teching, going to people's houses. Now I didn't really know much, so it was kind of hard because a lot of like there's one time this person's unit wouldn't turn back on, so I didn't fucking know what the problem was. So I ended up putting back like I think it popped a fuse because I remember learning in school how you can tell if a fuse is popped is if you look at the blade, the two bladed teeth, it'll have like these black marks on it, which will show like an internal burn, like a micro arc flash happened or something like that. So I ended up pulling it out of this lady's unit, and it had those. And I looked on the truck and saw if it was consistent with with a burn one. Did a little research, and it was. So then afterwards, I ended up getting a new fuse, put it in the lady's unit, and I fucking fixed it. It even had like it had an indicator on one of her display things that said like, "Hey, this isn't fucking working." So I was like, "Okay, all right, that's good." So I was definitely proud of myself. I felt like I was actually learning something. So I kept driving for a week, and I was like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" And then on the second week, I remember it was like right after 2 weeks of driving. I'm like, "Dude, fuck this," because I had been delivering packages, and I'm like, "Yo, like I need to learn how to be an installer." Now this wouldn't be a problem if I wasn't going to school, but I'm going to community college where you have to log hours at a certain company that installs services and does, work for all these systems. Because if you don't, you can't complete the program and get your journeyman's license. So I need these hours. And technically, I could fly under the radar and just like drive and deliver packages. But what good does that do you in the long run? Especially because my dad is paying for my tuition. That's almost like a slap in the face to him. And at first, I was on board with the managers. I'm like, yeah, like I'll drive for a bit. Maybe I'll install next year. But then my dad made it my problem. I was like, fuck, dude. Because he's like, you either need to like find a new job or become an installer. So I end up I meet with the new install manager. Now this is where it kind of pissed me off. So he shuts the door and I'm like, fuck, this isn't good because I had asked for a meeting with him. He's like, yo, because when I'm offloading these units off the box truck, I usually needed someone to help me because I didn't even know I was allowed to use a pallet jack because I hadn't worked in the warehouse the way this company works at Redcon. So I had always like I had left it on the truck and I would definitely struggle to put it on the hand cart because you need like either one or two people to load a unit onto a handcart or dolly handcart, same fucking thing. Richard goes there. He's like, yeah, like I don't know how to tell you this. Like some of the guys have been talking about how weak you are. If you guys don't know, like, or how I can't lift a unit or something like that. I don't think he exactly used those words. I had a back injury in the military. Right before I deployed to Korea, I got into this fucking like not so good car crash. I mean, I could walk after, I could move my neck, but I was fucking sore, and it really messed up my back. And then when I went to Korea and I had to wear hard plates, it kind of fucked up my back like for a while. I'd say my back, it definitely permanently affected my back. My back's at like 80% now of how it was when I was like, you know, when I was 16, 17. So it's not the worst fucking thing in the world, but I definitely still get back flare ups and back pain. That was one of the reasons why I couldn't really lift it on my own. So he cited that as one of the reasons. He's like, because I remember that was one of the reasons I got fired at Earthwater because the owner got like almost personally offended. It felt like that I was using a dolly to move like a 35 to 45 pound jug of geo fluid, and he just thought I was being fucking lazy, which is so fucking silly. Seriously, I these guys' egos are so fucking big, it's insane. I was in the meeting with him, he's saying that shit, and then he's talking about here's where it is. All right, you touched a blank electrical component, like you could have been killed. Obviously, I'm not gonna talk back to him, but in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm not fucking dead. I'm here. So can we stop playing games? Like that's what I was thinking. Is I understand it feels like he needs to protect the company, you know, like liabilities. I could sue them or whatever. It just felt disingenuous because I know at Earthwater I had worked with electricity. Well, not live, obviously when it was off. I had done a decent amount of wiring. I had been around live electric panels a fuck ton. I had been around these systems a while. That when Richard looked me in the eyes and said, I don't think you're ready for the install field, that shit pissed me off so fucking much. Because guys, imagine being gaslit. Because there's been just so many times where I'm in attics, I'm in crawl spaces, I'm installing this, I'm hooking this up, I'm running this to my helper, I'm observing him do this, or my journeyman, sorry. But I'm shadowing, I'm watching, I'm learning, and it's so fucking it's gaslighting when they want to say, "Oh, you're not ready for the install field." Like I've been doing this for a fucking year and a half. What are you talking about, you stupid fucking like it really fucking pissed me off when he said that. It just yeah, it fucking made me so angry. I didn't know what to do with myself, and I feel like I'm leaving stuff out about the meeting, but that's kind of the spark notes when he was talking about like, hey, you know, based off what some of the guys have told me and you got shocked, and it might have been a couple other things, or like you're not knowledgeable enough, something like that, which is true. Like that's why it hurt, because part of what he was saying was true, but how are you supposed to get better if you're not on the front lines being thrusted? And you don't even have to help, you can watch, but how are you supposed to get better at the fucking job? Like I swear these are so fucking stupid. It doesn't. Some of these managers, man, they're just fucking retarded. But yeah, after that, I had asked him like, okay, like because I was being direct. I'm like, can you give me a timeline of when I'm going to be in the install field? He looks at me and says, I can't give you one. And I remember I like emphasized that. So I was like, shit. So he kind of makes a almost like a compromise with me. I thought it was kind of fucked, but obviously that is JTM's perspective. I'm always gonna be. I just this company has been nothing but a fucking disappointment to me, and we've disappointed our customers. I'll be honest with you guys. We really have some of them. Like I remember, I went to a service call, and this was kind of in like the boony part of Baltimore County. But this person essentially, I don't know how to describe this without kind of like revealing what I guess what I do. Even if you guys can infer it, I'm trying to keep it kind of vague. So this system, it runs off of a cheap material that Baltimore County supplies them. If you don't have what Baltimore County supplies you, if it's not hooked up correctly, it will run off of electricity. Electric bills in the fucking winter to run this thing are so high. It can be anywhere from like $700 a month. When I went to this service call, I remember this guy, when I went on the ladder to check his upstairs, the system upstairs, he was like, hey, like, you're not gonna sue me, are you? And I was so confused. I was like, is this guy trolling me? Is this guy joking with me? I'm like, no, I'm not. He had a serious look on his face. I check it, it's fine. We get into this disagreement about this thing on the ceiling where I'm like, I don't think you should do that. He's like, well, another service tech told me something different. And then he started saying that he started acting like he knew more about the system than I did, which was fucking stupid because although I'm only in like year 2 of school for this and I've only been doing a different branch of this actual job field, it's still like, I know more than you, okay? You don't know how to connect copper like I do, okay? And when I went to service his outdoor unit, I didn't even, well, I didn't really, it was one that I was not familiar with, so I kind of just checked a couple things on it, kind of bullshitted it. I know that wasn't right. When I go to his door, he comes up to me, he's like, I saw you, like you barely, did you even check it? And then I like had to do, we got into this whole fucking argument. It was kind of in a calm manner, but I was like, yo, like I don't really, I wasn't trained on the system, and I kept repeating that shit back to him, and he was like, JTM, your company sucks. And he just kept saying like, why would Redcon send a service tech that doesn't know what they're doing? And in my head, I'm like, you was right. I don't fucking know, but like obviously I'm gonna give the customer service response. I'm like, well, sir, I haven't been fucking trained on this, but yeah, whatever. So that's just an example of one thing we did to our customers, because the thing is, technically Redcon should have paid for his bill, because if it was running off the Baltimore County supply thing, well, it would have been way fucking cheaper. It would have been like $370 a month versus 700. Seriously, that's not right. Now, I fucking hate Redcon anyways because of how they've treated me. But whatever, man. Like that's just an example of something we've done to our customers. I have a couple more stories. Like there was one where we fucking, I know I'm getting way off topic, but we sold someone a whole new system just because one of their outdoor exhaust pipes had mud in it. But when I asked the installers when I was delivering equipment to this job, I said, "Was there mud in it?" He said it was bone dry. The fucking salesman lied to the lady to make $11,000. Now I get it, gonna fucking just screw everyone over to make a quick buck and keep their job. But yeah, this is the kind of company I'm working for. So back to the story. I know that was an offshoot. I'm in his office. He comes up with this compromise where he says like, hey, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have you watch videos on these systems, how to install, how to be good at it. You're gonna meet with me every week and you're going to discuss what you've learned. I want you to stay and linger on jobs and actually like ask a couple questions, like if you don't have any deliveries to pick up from the supply house. I can't lie, I was definitely annoyed, I was angry in the moment, but it was better than him, looking back, it was better than him telling me to fuck off, because I didn't know how bad it could get. It got even worse after he eventually quit, which sucked dick. So I did this a couple times. I ended up meeting him I think it was every Friday I would meet with him. So I meet with him, I watch these videos, I take photos of when I was shadowing the guys after I would drop off a delivery, and it would definitely piss off the scheduling guy, but it's like, dude, you forced me into a scenario, like you asked for this shit, you know what I mean? Like you should have either told me to like seek other employment or fucking, I don't know. It feels like I'm pushing it off on him, but I was trying my best to work with the company and like be as good as I could be, but it didn't go in my favor. So I think it's about 2 or 3 Fridays I met with him. It was pretty good. We talked about these things, and he actually found time in his schedule because he was a busy motherfucker when he worked there. And I think it was after it was either after the second or third week of meeting with him, he quit. He quit, and I don't remember why. I think it was because this is another thing about RTT being our parent company. Like, they want to run things a certain way because the investors have a say. I guess saved our company, saved Redcon from actually, taking a nosedive into the. They can direct anything they want, and I think one of the reasons that someone said he quit was that he didn't like that they wouldn't listen to his opinion. I think it was probably up front when corporate people would be there, or his boss didn't really want to listen to him. Because it was funny, actually. I think I don't remember if it was beforehand or afterhand, but the GM got fired. Yes, the general manager of the branch got fired. It was like either 2 weeks after he quit or 2 weeks before he quit. I can't really remember off the top of my head right now, but I know it was within like a 2 week period, which was fucking insane. Because RTT is so money hungry, as you guys have been hearing. All they care about is getting the check for the first install, and they don't give a fuck. They really don't. So as long as if the GM can't hit these numbers every month, then they basically say like fuck you, you're useless, get out of here. That's kind of what they mentally will say by saying, hey, you're fired, you can't hit your KPIs, key performance indicators. Now with Richard quitting, that kind of fucked me because I was pretty fucking pissed at him. In the long run, though, he did have a pipeline for me to start becoming an installer. Because I remember I was like cursing behind his back. I'm like, fucking Richard, I hate that motherfucker. But it would seem that he was kind of trying to actually get me back out in the field. It's just, he might have had to justify to corporate, like, hey, JTM, I think he's ready. He got shocked and whatever, but for 2 weeks, I kept reporting to the scheduling guy. I was doing driving deliveries. Now, they had talked about this new manager that was coming back. He actually previously worked at Redcon. His name was Dylan. Let's go with that name. People talked about him like he was, well, not like he was Jesus, but that he was a very, very good guy. Like, he would stick out his necks for his guys. If they made a mistake, he'd like argue with the safety guy, being like, no, like he's a great guy, like that he wouldn't do that, and he would genuinely try to get guys in the install and really care about their education. One of the like the second helpers on an install, I was talking to him. I'm like, hey, how did you become an installer? He's like, yeah, I was in your shoes. I was a driver for 6 months. Then afterwards, I got sick of it after like a couple months or a month, and I went up to the install manager Dylan, and I literally said, hey, like, I'm gonna quit and go somewhere else if you don't make me an installer. So he made him a fucking installer. That gave me hope, but he was also pretty knowledgeable and shit on how to do everything. So he was asking questions like I was. I guess he's just more well liked than me, because sometimes I can be emotional when I get angry, so you guys can probably see that from my voice. So yeah, for about 2 weeks, which is funny, 2 weeks seems like a theme in this fucking story. 2 weeks, I keep driving, delivering these packages, and I'm just like, I'm getting more and more fucking pissed that I'm waiting on the new guy Dylan because to come, and it was up in the air. They didn't really know if he was going to be the install manager to come back, but he had experience already at the company, which is, I think, one of the reasons why RTT rehired him, because he gets his feet wet for a couple days, but this ain't his first rodeo. He knows how RTT runs its installs and shit. So he comes back, and fuck, man. I remember the day he comes back, but I think it was a couple days before he came back, or maybe a week. Now he is my supervisor, the warehouse manager. I'll call him Ron. Thing about Ron you guys need to know, Ron actually put his hands on an employee when he was firing them a year ago, and he had to go to court over it. So he does not have a good fucking reputation at this company. Ron came up to me, and he's not necessarily a violent person. I think he just got into a confrontation with one of the guys, the installers, who was like quitting or something, and it just turned south. Like I said, I wasn't there to witness it. I didn't read a police report. I know that's my cop brain kicking in. Security forces truly never fucking leaves you. But I wasn't there, so I'm not. I kind of had a preconceived notion of Ron. I mean, everyone has a bias, but I was just like, I suppose he's all right, maybe. So Ron comes up to me and he's like, hey, you're on my payroll. And I'm like, in my head, alarm bells are going off. I'm like, fuck, fuck, fuck. I'm even further away from install now, because when I had clocked it on the app, it had said install helper on my job duties and roles, which is, it'll say like mechanic, it'll say salesman or manager or install manager, whatever the fuck your position is in the company, it'll say it there. And it was in the middle of the warehouse, kind of near the office, like our parts supply room. And I'm like, shit. The other two coworkers that were in the warehouse at the time, they're there watching it. And I'm like, Ron, how am I supposed to get install time? He's like, oh, I've had drivers that have I've been installers. But the thing that this is not understanding is that how is delivering packages and taking apart these units for scrap money supposed to teach you to be an installer? That makes like zero fucking sense. I mean, you could learn maybe the parts, but it's not going to help you in the long run. It's not going to tell you the load running amps of certain parts. It's not going to tell you what line and load is. It's not going to tell you, oh, what should you do with this unit to make sure it's running at full capacity if something isn't wrong, or how to diagnose once you put high volts on. Like none of delivering packages really and taking it apart kind of only tells you parts. That's it. It's not going to tell you how many times does this thing need to spin around in order to achieve a full cycle or something like that. I'm kind of keeping it vague, but you guys know what I'm saying. I kind of give up and I just I let Ron talk, and I'm so fucking angry because for 2 weeks, no one had told me that I was under Ron. I had just been reporting to the scheduling guy. I was like, oh yeah, like I'm just going to keep getting these deliveries. Because I remember I had asked him, I'm like, hey, when am I going to be like installs now? Because I assumed he was a manager. He's not even a fucking manager. He just does scheduling. He's just really fucking old. So, well, not old, older than me, like maybe fucking 25, 30 years older than me. But yeah, so I was fucking angry. Now, here's where I got naughty and I was being fucking immature. We have drive cams in all of our vehicles. Now, the way the drive cam works is you can set it off and it'll take the last 10 seconds of what happened. Cornering, hard braking, hard acceleration, that shit will all set off the camera. And if you set it off a lot, you have to see the safety manager because he's going to be like, what the fuck is going on? Now, I was so fucking angry about being lied to, about being gaslit, saying I'm not ready for the install field, when I had literally been doing a fucking branch of this industry for a year. And yeah, I'm not doing the direct conventional shit they're doing, but I have an idea of what they're doing. I've watched many people do the functions that we do every day, our installers, for like almost a year now. I've been in crawl spaces. I've figured out certain things, how to hook up certain things with on my own. My journeyman is not sitting there fucking tugging my telling me, oh, this is how you need to do it. He's let me loose and I've had to be independent to figure it the fuck out. So I like that. I grew in those spots when I didn't know what I was doing and I had to figure it the fuck out. Just like in the military, figure it the fuck out. So I'm just, like I said, guys, I know it was immature, but I'm just very pissed. Yo, for like 2 days, I fucking hard break that bitch. I'm just like whipping it. I'm fucking speeding. I'm doing all the shit you're not supposed to do. So I end up, Ron calls me into his office. Like, I think it was right when I got back from a delivery. He's like, oh, we need to talk. I'm like, fuck, dude. It's like getting sent up to the principal's office. So he's there and he gets on the phone with the safety manager and he's like, yo, like, I don't know what's going on, JTM. Like, you have like over fucking 17 violations within like 24 hours. He's like, what is going on? And then I'm just like, bro, I hit him with the I don't know. Because that's the best line you can give someone, all right? You can say, I don't know. It's a good old, I used to get chastised as a kid when I would get in trouble in school for saying I don't know. And I fucking love saying I don't know to people because it just, sometimes it pisses off the right one, the right people, the wrong people, whatever. Because in the Air Force, you could not say that shit. Your drill sergeant would be like, What the fuck are you talking about? I don't know." So it's kind of fucking funny to say I don't know to someone. It really is. And plus, I don't feel like putting in effort. I'm sure if I had a girlfriend, I would be completely honest and vulnerable with her, to where I wouldn't say I don't know unless that was genuinely the answer to a question she was asking me. But I'm chronically single. I don't really have a girlfriend. I would hope I don't say I don't know, but whatever. Let's get off topic. So he says, like, I'm pulling, like, he said his boss, like, our safety manager, his boss for the branch was like, I'm pulling JTM off the road. I don't want him to be on the road until he talks to me. Like I'm still angry. I'm like, okay, you know, because I've driven Ron down to the South Branch before. He knew I was a good driver. He was so confused. That was my fault for not being honest with him, saying I don't want to be in the fucking warehouse. I want to be an installer. Ron and I and the safety manager have a meeting the next day. Now, next day comes along, I go into the office. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, I was just so angry, upset. You ever just like felt like bursting into tears in a chair? I've done it before, and like I know I'm an embarrassing ass to say that, but it's true. I have in certain situations, but like in my head, I'm like, no, like I can't let these fucking like see that I'm weak. You know, fuck these fucking. I know that's immature as fuck, but that's what I was thinking. Along those lines. Instead, I just channel it into being angry. I'm like, I fucking hate these fucking. I'm gonna fucking them all. That's what I was thinking. Honestly, like anger really helped me, and I low key and I like pour out not like tears, but like I pour out my emotions, and I'm like, I don't want to be a fucking warehouse. It's a waste of time. It's useless. And Ron, I swear, dude, like Ron was being such a dumbass because he kept saying like, I've had drivers that have been installers. Okay, yeah, he's talking about like, we'll get you install time in the fall, but he's like, it's like feeding a dog scraps. Yeah, feeding a dog scraps when you should be giving him a full fucking plate of kibble, you know, after a whole day of exercising and running around. It feels like they're barely feeding me any knowledge. That's what I'm trying to say. I know I use an extreme example. I don't fucking know why. It's just what first came to my head. I'm pissed. I'm telling him like, and the safety manager is very empathetic. I really appreciate about him. He's almost like a dad, you know. Like at least Ron at the end of my rant when I'm talking about like I don't want to be an installer, it's a waste of fucking time. Like I just because I got shocked over one thing, you know, they're gonna ban me from install. And Richard saying that I'm not ready for the install field, it just felt like gaslighting. It really fucking did, dude. If you've ever been gaslit in your life, it's not fun. Feels like you're just getting lied to, which you are. But I'm emotionally thinking about this. That's why it seems so. It's very raw. I don't really have a script for this video. So yeah, Ron. At least Ron's at the end. He's like, "I'm sorry that you know, Richard lied to you about, or really like told you that you're not ready for the install field." But he's kind of just going off what management and corporate's telling him. He leaves because I didn't even want to be around him. I feel embarrassed. I end up talking to the safety manager. I'm like, yeah, like I'm sorry. I took it out on the vehicle. He's like, yeah, like you know, I guess he forgives me, but he covers a branch for our south for RTT, their shop in the south. He covers there and north and like I think it's like southwestern Maryland or southeastern Maryland, another branch. So he sees like almost 400 fucking drivers. He was talking about like, oh, like whenever a guy goes through a divorce or some shit, he's super emotional. He's abusing the vehicle too because he doesn't know where to take out his anger. So it's not just me, my like there have been people who are going through some hard shit and they lose all motor functions and stop giving a shit about their job, you know. But I don't know, man. It does seem kind of immature. Like I said, I'll admit that. Yeah. So we end up going on a I have to re-educate. I have to go through the driver re-education course for the company or whatever. Like retake it. I have to do a test ride with him, and he's talking about this shit. I'm telling him like, yo, like I'm gonna wait for the new install manager, but when he comes, like if he doesn't give me a spot, I'm gonna quit. And I shouldn't have waited for that motherfucker. Like seriously, because it felt like I was waiting for a hall pass to quit the company. So I think a week goes by. One of the dispatchers that I was friends with, she's like, "You got suspended," and it was fucking funny. I remember the day that I did the ride along with the safety manager. I got off. One of the dispatchers is like, "Oh, he's JTN's back on the road again," and it was fucking funny because gossip travels. Like, there's a lot of fucking women on computers in our office. You know how women are. They fucking love to gossip. Listen, I love women, okay, but y'all love the gossip, okay? Yeah, so I think it was like this story happens by weeks. I noticed that really is a fucking theme in this. So I think another week goes by, the install manager, the new one, Dylan, comes along, and I'm trying to get a meeting with him. Like I meet him, he's very cool. I remember the day he showed up, all the installers are on the dock in like our warehouse, because the warehouse is where they
deploy out of, quote unquote, with all their materials and shit in the units. So we kind of share a home office, I guess you could say that, blue collar wise. And they're all like, it's like a powwow circle. I showed up late. I was like, fuck, that's not a way to make a good impression. But yeah, it's. But think about it. I am warehouse, so he's not even my manager. So I guess it didn't really feel that bad because I could pull that card. Because immediately one of the warehouse guys, asked me to start helping them. Well, this guy was he was in a speech with like 12 other installers, but whatever. And it was like a week of just trying to get a chance to speak with him. And I think he already knew what I wanted because it's like I just wanted a yes or no, you know what I mean? But he made it seem like I had to have this whole fucking meeting with him, which is a little annoying, It wasn't that crazy, but come on, just give me an answer, okay? Like I'll take yes or no. Just give me a permission slip to quit the fucking company. So I think after like a couple days of trying, I finally get a meeting with him because I had to keep taking deliveries in the morning, deliveries in the afternoon, this and that. I meet with him and I tell him about my concerns. I tell him about what happened. I don't know. I think I did mention what happened. I was just really hyper focused on if he was going to say yes or no. He didn't mention anything about the RTT or the me getting shocked or anything. He literally just said we're full on helpers right now, and this was true because the writing was on the wall. The day before I had a meeting with him, one of the other helpers, which I'm very fucking cool with. This guy is totally my he was scrapping with me. Now, scrapping the units and recycling the aluminum, the copper, all that shit so the company can get back money from recycling center is part of the warehouse job. So whenever they don't have work for a helper or it's slow, they'll just send them to go scrap because it is something that needs to get done. And we build up a lot. We build up a shit ton. We literally end up throwing up most of the shit that we get. I just got told by fucking Ron today that we need to start scrapping those. So yeah, like there's no throwing shit out, like seriously. So I guess more fucking work for us. But since the other helper didn't have work that day, and I think it was a slow day, but either way, the writing was on the wall, dude. It felt like, oh my fucking god, it's almost like we don't have space for help. Because unless they were hurting for helpers, why the fuck would Dylan even take me on? Even if I was like, I had no history with the company. So I was like, okay, all right, well, a history of getting in trouble. So I'm like, shit, this is my permission slip to quit. So after that, I went on Indeed. I started applying to a bunch of these other jobs. I ended up going to it was actually 4 days ago, I think 4 or 5 days ago. I went to another place that does the same thing as my company and Earthwater did. I talked to the installment, well, not the install manager there. I believe he was a service tech manager. I filled out an application in person, and can I just say, I fucking hate that shit because it's almost like work is like your second family because of how much time you spend with them. So if you go in to apply, it feels like you're trying to prove yourself, kind of like when you get to any army cats or air force, when you show up to your first unit and you actually get assigned to a platoon or your flight, you really have to prove yourself and not be a weirdo, so almost show that you want to be part of their group or whatever, because that's why you're there. So I hate it. It's fucking awkward, but it's always gonna be awkward, so it's never gonna change. It's just, oh fuck, I hate that shit. So I filled out the application, whatever, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. I think they said the install manager is coming back Monday. I'm recording this video on the 6th, so of August or whatever the fuck. I don't know if it's probably gonna come out like a month or a week because I don't know when I want to publish this video. Probably fucking 2 months, but it don't matter. But you guys can tell that I don't care about my job, and I know that a lot of the shit I did in this story was childish. This was even worse, dude, because this just shows you how much I don't give a flying fuck, and I know I should, because if you get fired from a place, it doesn't look good on your resume, especially when they ask for your for like, oh, the who's the last person you worked for. So RTT is the parent company, right? And I'm just so done that I'm getting thrown around like a rag doll. My education is being treated like trash. I'm not being taken seriously. This is from JTM's perspective, okay? Their perspective might be, and I've heard this from my dad, because when I rant to him about this shit, he's like, oh, the company's just trying to protect itself. The company's not evil. The company's just doing what's best for them. Because they are money hungry whores. They are so money hungry. I mean, who isn't in this world? Seriously, who isn't? But companies, man, these They're cold, dude. That dollar is god to them. I go around to like, I think it started with the people I work with when I started saying RTT was evil as fuck. I said RTT was evil. I said it to like the safety manager because he's cool. He's like a dad. He laughed. He thought it was funny the first time. I ended up going down south. I said it to a south manager. He's cool as fuck. He's low key a cool. He even agreed with me. He's like, once RTT bought Redcon, they have been like they've been very like cold for the money, like very money hungry. Those words fucking came out of his mouth. Not exactly, but that's what he was saying is RTT, or not RTT, Redcon fucking cares about money. RTT cares about money. It's all about scamming and just getting that fucking check. And I've heard this even from the install manager when he had a meeting the other day when he was chastising the fucking installers for calling out just because simply if they were in an attic or it was a hot fucking day and they didn't feel like coming in, they just didn't come in. We had 7 call outs the other week, which was not fucking acceptable to him because it reflects badly on the leadership, management, whatever. So I said it to people that I thought I could trust. I remember I went to his office yesterday and I was like joking around with him. I was like, remember, safety manager, like RTT is evil. And he laughed again. He's like, oh man, I don't know if you should say that. Now, at the end of the day, I think I had gotten back from a delivery. Ron, this fucking comes up to me. He's come on, follow me. We're gonna go to AR. I'm like, what's AR? I think I misheard him. HR. We fucking walked down the hall, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, dude. Felt like Flynn Rider walking to his execution in fucking Tangled. Not really. That's just a fucking joke. But I was walking down there. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I'm about to get fucking fired. So I walk into the office. She's like, hello, JTM. And dude, I'm telling you, our HR lady looks like the fucking desk lady from Monsters Inc. She doesn't have the exact hairstyle, but the glasses. She looks like the mix of her and one of the Who's from either like Horton Hears a Who or the Lorax or whatever the fuck. Or the people from what's that, the Grinch, I guess. Yeah, she looks like a mix of the Monsters Inc. and those characters. She's a fucking bitch. I hate her. She literally said one day that one day in a meeting, I'm gonna tell you how brain dead this fucking lady is, because she said she's never worked for this kind of company that does this kind of installs, this kind of blue collar work. She literally said, like, how she said, you guys can leave an install at a certain time, right? Like in a meeting, because like people were talking about overtime and like, yeah, that's how it got brought up. She's like, you guys leave at a certain time, right? How can this bitch be so fucking stupid? You don't leave at a certain time a customer's house just when you feel like it. You leave a customer's house when the system is up and running. Because this system, although it is not necessary for survival, I mean, let's be completely fucking honest. Like, your hot water, your air conditioning, your gas that turns on your stove to actually cook steaks, none of that shit is technically essential to survival, but it's a very comfort level thing because you need a shower. I like sleeping when it's fucking like 60, 68 degrees, 67, 66. And I like being able to go and cook a fucking pancake on the griddle. Okay, I like all these things. They are convenient to me. You're not just gonna leave a customer without all those things, gas, AC, or fucking water. If you haven't hooked up the hot water heater, you're not just gonna clock out just because you're fucking tired and you don't feel like connecting the copper to their hot water heater or whatever boiler down there or whatever system you're installing. So this bitch just like doesn't. She is HR. She's worked HR probably at like a law firm or other places. Can you at least shadow an install so you know what the fuck you're talking about? Like, I swear, bro, don't want to put any fucking, and she's white by the way, but they don't want to put any effort into like learning about the complexities of their job so they can be more effective and more personable to the people they're working with, which ultimately will help you make the company a better environment, I feel like. But what the fuck do I know, right? Sorry, I keep getting off track. We're in her office and I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, she's like, what's this I hear about RTT being evil? And I'm like, I play dumb for a second. I'm like, what? And she's like, did you not say RTT was evil? And I'm like, no, I didn't say RTT was evil. I said Redcon was evil. And she's like, why would you say that? Yo, I hit her with the I don't know. I fucking love hitting people with the I don't know. So yeah, after I'm done hitting her with the I don't know, she's we stare at each other for five fucking seconds, maybe probably a bit shorter than that. Then she's like, "Why would you say that?" And then like I think I just mumbled something or said something about how I was angry or something. I didn't really mumble it. I don't know, man. My head was fucking spinning. So I was just like I was angry and we exchange a couple words. It's really just like, well, don't say that. Like, why would you say that? She's like, I find it particularly offensive you would say that because they pay my bills. And in my head, I'm like, you stupid fucking bitch. You are so out of touch. Like, fuck you. I hate you. Okay? You don't even fucking understand the shit that we're installing. Okay? Jesus Christ. And I know that's not her job. Her job is to protect the company. God, she's such an insufferable bitch. And I've talked to so many people about it behind her back. They're like, yeah, that lady's a fucking bitch. Yeah, she's like, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna clock out, and in the morning, meet in my office and we can talk. And I'm like, oh. So me and Ron walk back. I clock out at like 2, which is an hour earlier than I usually leave. Go home, play some PUBG, fucking chill. The normal shit that I do when I get home. Afterwards, I come back, and this is nerve wracking. This was actually this morning. This shit happened. I drive there. I go to her office. She's in another meeting with someone else. I'm like, so I do the thing. I fucking walk around for like 5 minutes, scroll some Instagram reels. I see her door is cracked. So I walk in, knock on that bitch. I'm like, hey, like, you wanted to see me, Mrs. Bitch. Let's call her Miss Bitch. So Miss HR bitch says, "Yes, come in." I come in, I shut the door. She's like, "Did you think about the things we talked about yesterday?" And I'm like, and I give her like the most cuz listen. I see my lapse in judgment. I see my outbursts, okay? I'm an emotional sometimes, all right? I'll admit it when I get angry and I get pushed over when I'm trying to fix things and I'm just getting gaslit and blocked. I tend to get angry, okay, when I'm trying to solve problems and just getting walked all over. And so I give, like, obviously I need to speak her language because she's trying to protect the company, and my dad has told me this about HR before, that HR seeks to protect the company. It's probably like it went like this. I was like, well, Miss HR bitch. I didn't call her that, I'm just nicknaming her that. Well, Miss HR bitch. Yeah, I had a lapse in judgment. I think that it was not okay what I did. I'm angry, but I'm gonna keep it to myself, and just move forward and just keep my mouth shut and not say anything. I'm trying to tell her what she wants. Half of it was true. Like, I'll shut the fuck up about how much I hate Redcon, but it's not gonna make me hate the company any less or talk shit behind their back to people that I know it won't get back to. I know that because, well, I don't know that, but fuck it. And she's like, okay, go back to work. And I'm like, oh, thank God this fucking ogre will leave me alone. So I go back to work, slave away in the fucking warehouse. This might be a unique situation. I don't know how many people burst out and act like children at work just when they're getting fucking upset. And even so, I have a story about that. I had a coworker. He fucking hated Ron so much. Whenever Ron would tell this coworker to do any work, let's call this coworker Terry. I'll call him Terry. Terry had a heart condition, so it was hard for him to lift these heavy ass cardboard boxes. He'd always make me do it, but I'm low key trying to lose weight anyway, so I didn't fucking care. I would do any physical activity at work. It was a month ago, and I remember Miss HR bitch was there when it happened. Terry and Ron get in this shouting argument because one of the guys that ran the warehouse, he's very fucking good at his job. He can order parts. He can count things very, very quick. He can do all the shit that he needs to do and pull parts and pull jobs and get them ready. He's very, very fucking good at his job. He decides to go to our South sister branch, I guess you could call it, to make about $20,000 to $25,000 more than what he's making at Redcon. And I think it was I think Terry got in an argument because Ron told him that he needed to like start learning his job, because a lot of the times he would just like sit on his chair and sleep whenever and basically make the guy who left for our sister branch do all the work. It was kind of like his crutch. Terry, like the sister branch guy, did all the fucking work, and Terry kind of just sat there in the chair. He would work sometimes, don't get me wrong, but you can tell when like a dude is taking a way longer break than he needs to. And he does this like every day and just isn't as motivated and doesn't really want to help me lift units, which fine, you know, if you have a stent put in your heart, because he did have a big fucking belly, bro. I could tell. But he was a cool guy. You know what I mean? He was pretty cool. Terry and Ron get in the shouting match. This was like 2 months before all this shit happened. Like before my bad behavior just took off. Like they get into this fucking shouting match. And it was like you could hear it down the hall. It was so fucking entertaining. I love drama. I love seeing the company. I mean, when it happens to me, fuck, I guess it happens to me, but I mean when it's interesting. Okay, don't lie, okay, unless you're a very old person and you don't have time for all this shit. It's very entertaining to see all this shit happen, okay? Like the drama happen, guys yell at each other. So they go to the break room and the GM that got fired, it was like this was like a week before he got fired, 2 weeks before he got fired. He he had to come in and mediate the thing because they were like fucking screaming. He's like, I don't fucking know, or like he's like, you need to learn this shit, or like that's not exactly what they said, but that's what kind of what I picked up from it. Yeah, Terry was not having it. A couple weeks later, like I said, weeks are a very, very common thing we're gonna count the story in. I forget. I think it was Ron came in and said like, "Hey, you need to do extra counting upstairs," because the way our warehouse works is we have a second level. It's kind of like the size of I don't know, maybe the base of a rancher. It's definitely it's like a second floor. It's not that big, but it is a fucking second floor nevertheless. That we have like a shit ton of equipment on. So I think Ron told Terry that we needed to count this shit or do organizing or something upstairs, which is outside of our normal job duties for a normal operation, but nevertheless, it's in the warehouse. We're all warehouse. You know, Terry needs to do his fucking job. And anytime Ron would tell Terry to do some shit, he would just get so fucking upset. He had a bone to pick with Ron, and I didn't fucking understand why. I think just one day they might have gotten into a bad fight. It was probably before I even joined Redcon. But Terry was not fucking having it. He was just like, he did that thing where he's like, and just like shakes his head and is just like, fuck this. It like, not saying fuck this, but like, someone's mannerisms when in a movie when they're like, fuck this, and they shake their head and they breathe really loudly. Yeah, he was doing that minus the fuck this. And it was kind of funny. Me and the other warehouse guy, the other dude, not the dude who normally works there, we thought it was funny. Like, and I was low key, like, I was almost following him, pretending I was looking for the other warehouse guy because I had just lost him for about 5 minutes. I remember seeing, like, Terry walk up to Miss HR bitch lady's office, like, close, and it's like, talks to someone else near her and said, I need to talk to Miss HR lady bitch, like, as soon as she's available, please. And it was so retarded. Yeah, he wasn't asking Terry to, like, get on a unicycle and recite the Bible in Japanese, do something fucking ridiculous out of his job duties. He was just telling him to simply, like, fucking organize shit upstairs. And I think Terry was just looking for a reason to quit or get fired, which is, I'm low-key following in his footsteps, but for a very, I would say for a slightly more valid reason. It doesn't excuse all the bad shit I've done at this company. Yeah, Terry, like, he was just too emotional, and a lot of people would tell me about that shit, but I don't know why Terry was just so fucking upset, because this is a very easy warehouse job. Even when you're counting parts, you can literally sit in a chair on your ass. You don't even really need to move. And if for someone who has heart problems, that's all good, man. Sit in the chair. No one's gonna demonize you, even though Ron is kind of a dickhead sometimes, he's somewhat understanding. I think it's 5 minutes after Terry gets up and he like, cause me and the other warehouse guy were in the back. Like we weren't even supposed to look. One of the office ladies up there, we're about to walk up there and see what's going on because we hear yelling. She gestures like, no, 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 go to the back. And I was like, oh shit. I didn't want to get in any more trouble, so I just didn't look. But we heard fucking Terry screaming. He's like, this is bullshit or something like that. And I think he just like walked out. And then Ron comes in like 15 minutes later. He's talking to the office lady that saw Terry walk out, and they're just discussing the whole thing about how he literally walked out on them and quit. I mean, that is kind of a recent example It doesn't happen all the time. Seriously, don't get the impression that it happens all the time. But the thing about this company is, even the safety manager shit. He told me this shit. He said that Redcon has a problem with retaining people, and he even said that it wasn't out of like me biasing him or anything. He literally said that to me when we were talking about this topic, like if I was gonna quit or get fired or quit or go to another company, and that was so interesting that he said that to me. So a takeaway from the story, I know I acted like an immature ass. I really did for a lot of it. In my defense, you can't gaslight people and expect them to not fill up with rage, lash out on you when you continuously lie to someone. Because, guys, I have been in crawl spaces. I've been in terrible fucking attics where it's hot. I've wired technical shit and learned like a five to 8 step process on how to do these things. I was really getting good at Earthwater before I got fired. I was literally on track to start getting good at my fucking job. I don't like being gaslit saying I'm not ready for the install field. And that shit is what really just sent me spiraling to be such a bad employee. Now, I don't even know what I'm going to name this video, but it's kind of just a raw, honest experience of how this workplace has been. I've never worked for such a horrible fucking company. I know it's corporate. They need to protect themselves. They are bitch ass pussy for that. And I know it's their business model, that's how they survive, but that's very bitch made to me. It's very bitch made. So take this as you will. If you're thinking about working, if you're blue collar, whether if you're a roofer, you're a plumber, you're an HVAC, you're an electrician, you do any of this shit, you know what I mean? If you're an aircraft mechanic or an elevator install or whatever, think about if you go to these big companies, if you ever get fucking injured and you're not like maimed or you think you're gonna like have a heart attack within 7 hours, you don't need to fucking tell anyone, because that's what ruined me. I think this whole shit could have been prevented if I just would have left out the fact that I got shocked. Because if I didn't tell them that, then there's a chance that at least if I got denied for being in the install field, it would be for a valid reason, like, oh, we're full on helpers. But even if, because that's assuming that Richard would have actually made me an installer, because we can't know. We're not like fucking, what's that guy in Interstellar who was in the Tesseract who saw the different dimensions of possibilities of shit that could happen. I don't fucking remember, but what I'm saying is there's no Doctor Strange, oh, this universe is what could have happened in this situation if you did this different. We only get one life. And I'm glad this shit happened. A long time ago, I watched this video by Jocko Willenick where he was talking about like good. You know, I'm good this happened to you. Good, it'll teach you this. Good, it'll teach you that. You guys know. If you know, you know that video. And this was the positive I can find in this, was at least now I know how bitch made these corporate places are. Because they see you as a liability if you do one small thing. You need to fucking lie by omission if you ever get hurt. Because if they even see you as a liability, and they're going to treat you like a second class worker. And I'm glad that they even had the resources to keep me as a delivery driver. But say even at another job, if you get hurt and they put you in the warehouse or put you as like a cleaner or put you on light duty doing some scut work, and it doesn't help you in the long run to be valuable. Shit, I'll make a video about that later, but yeah, in conclusion, fuck big corporations. Make sure you lie to them if you ever get hurt. If your managers don't need to know anything, just don't say anything. Seriously, and keep yourself safe, because that's the way I feel. And guys, I know a lot of the shit I did in this story was childish. You live and you learn. Don't fucking push someone to their limit. Seriously. And I'm not talking about going out and hurting people, nothing like that. I'm just saying, don't push people to their limit and gaslight them. Everyone has potential, and because I could be so vulnerable at Earthwater about my insecurities on what I needed help with, and the guys would somewhat help me, like help teach me, you know? So I could ask any questions and they'd be good with it. So yeah. Thanks for watching though. This is it's an hour and fucking 24 minutes. So this video is probably going to be an hour long, but whatever. I really hope you enjoyed my story. I'm still currently working at Redcon. I'm waiting to hear back from the next company. So I'll update you guys on whatever happens, you know, next week, next month or whatever, but I'm not going to rot in this fucking warehouse, you know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you found enjoyment in this video. If you made it all the way to the end, congratulations. I guess you're a real one. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll update you. Till then, peace.